on, everyone? Rachel here with FrontlineTV Network.com, here to tell you about the latest celebrity gossip and what happened this past week. Well, in case you didn't hear, Kendra has her own show, Bridget has her own show, and now the only girl from the whole, Girls Next Door that doesn't have her own show is Holly Madison. So in case you're kind of disappointed about that, the disappointment should be over because, in case you didn't hear, she's getting her own show now. About the whole, her and Hef breaking up, in case you didn't hear, well, yeah, that's been over for a couple months now, but after that whole breakup, she decided to pack up from LA, ship out to Las Vegas, and start her own career there. Now, in case you didn't know, she stars in a headline show right off the strip. It's called Peep Show, and it's a burlesque show, so of course she's showing them lady bags and whatnot. But now, this whole new show, TV reality show that they're going to have based off of her is going to be called Planet Holly, and it's kind of going to be based off of her burlesque show, so you'll get to follow her around and whatnot. Now, the only thing is I don't know, it's going to be on basic cable, so it's not like you're going to be seeing anything juicy like those lovely man-made titties of hers or whatnot, so it's kind of going to be a disappointment. But in case you're a big fan of Holly, she's getting her own show too. I don't know, there's enough blondes on TV anyways. Maybe you should make more room for me or something instead of her. She's kind of an airhead anyways. But, what am I to say? I don't know, guess I'm not. So, moving on with that story. In case you didn't hear, David Hasselhoff he's been caught being drunk once again. Now, about a year ago, he was rolling around on the floor in a drunken state, eating a hamburger from McDonald's because he was so drunk, and his little daughter, who at the time was 16, videotaped it, put it all over the internet to basically show her dad, look what you're doing to yourself, and, you're making fun of yourself and me, and it's a total disappointment. You need to stop drinking. Well, he's been doing it again this past weekend, and same thing, he came home in a drunken mess, and his daughter, who's now 17, her name's Haley, she was so upset, so instead of basically blackmailing him this time, she called 911 on him and said, emergency, I need help. Well, nothing really happened with that. Basically, the reason why David Hasselhoff said he was so drunk was because he obviously drank a little bit and mixed with his medications. Obviously doesn't work out well. That's why on the prescription bottle it specifically says do not take with alcohol. So maybe you should learn to read a little bit, maybe watch out for your own health. But don't worry, David Hasselhoff feels bad about the whole situation and his daughter catching him drunk again. So in order to reconcile for that, he decides to take her, keep in mind she is 17, to a opening of a brand new lingerie line at the WeHo store in Los Angeles. That's kind of weird if you ask me. I mean, was he telling her to try on certain things and ask her to model for him? That's weird. She's young. She shouldn't be learning about this stuff yet and doing this, especially in front of her dad. You're sick, David Hasselhoff. Germany would be very disappointed in you. Anyways, moving on. Another kind of daddy-daughter tiff that's, over the hill now. In case you didn't know, Mackenzie Phillips, who stars in One Day at a Time, she came out on Oprah this past week saying that when she was 19 years old, back in the 70s, her dad, which in case you didn't know was John Phillips from the Mama and the Papas, very famous 70s hippie group back then, all about the love and drugs and peace and whatever. Basically, when she was 19, she reported that, he was raping her at the time. It was an incestuous relationship, and this went on for 10 years. Well, about after 10 years, she did get pregnant. She didn't know if the baby was actually her father's or her boyfriend's at the time, so she told her dad, since they were lovers apparently, and he paid for the abortion because obviously you wouldn't want that to hit the whole headlines and whatnot. And that has been wrapped under secrets and, whatever, kept on the DL for years now, and she finally had the strength to come out on Oprah and say that. So good for you for being strong about that. A lot of people do suffer from family members raping them and whatnot, and it's glad that you could be a great model and overcome that and, tell the world, because the world needs models like you to, just come out and say what happened, because it's sad. So if something like this has happened to you, don't be afraid to tell somebody. It's the best thing you can do. Moving on from this story, in case you didn't hear, Giada De Laurenti, who, if you don't watch the Food Network, she's on there. She's the host of Everyday Italian. She was actually caught on camera this past week coming off of a plane flight in LAX, Los Angeles Airport. And basically she was asked, "Oh, Giada, what do you think about the airplane food?" She kind of laughs it off and, doesn't really say anything about it. So they say, "Giada, what would you add? Any spices or anything to make the food better?" She just flat out says, "I wouldn't eat the food at all." Burn. I mean, is it just me or do they not serve food on airplanes anymore either? It's all like nuts and, I don't know, Coca-Colas and whatnot. So I don't know what Giada was eating, but apparently it wasn't anything good. Obviously, I mean, she's like this world-renowned chef, so she has to put down airplane food. Everybody knows it's crap anyways, so I don't know. Funny thing about Giada, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of her, but if you ever watch her show, just notice she has very small little midget arms. It's really funny and weird at the same time. People think she's hot, but then I just look at her arms and I'm like, ugh, weird. Anyways, that's all I have for you right now, so if you stay tuned in a couple minutes, I will be back with more news from this week's celebrity gossip. Catch y'all later.
You can just go back into it.
Okay.